Hi, this is Tom Shanahan. I'm the author of Spiritual Adrenaline, a lifestyle plan to strengthen and nourish your recovery. I have a copy right here with me. And I'm really honored to have with me someone who's in my book is chapter inspiration for chapter one. It's Scott Richardson, who resides in Normal, Illinois. Scott, thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate you having you here. I read about you a while back now, and I saw a before and after photo, you at 400 pounds, and then you as a triathlete. You're someone who has been in addiction recovery for a very long time. Like I just said, you went from the 400 pounds down to competing in one ultra triathlon, two Ironman competitions, and I believe you're a USA certified triathlon instructor now. So you're someone who also gave up alcohol and to some extent drugs, and then food many, many years later, because that became, I think you're going to share about how that became your kind of a substitute for the other addictions. So you bring so much to the table at any time, and I'm so glad to have you here to share on your experience, strength, and hope. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
Okay, and I just gave you, I just shared what I think is great about you, and I just would love for you to maybe expand on that to give a little bit of your background and your experience in strength and hope to people out there.
Okay. I'm 68. I was 37 when I got sober, October 2nd of 1988. I also was a drug addict. I was a child of the 60s. I did a lot of hallucinogens um, and other things. But in sobriety and before, I was one of those folks that had the cycle up and down. You lose weight, you go up more. You lose weight, you go up more. You lose weight, you go up even more. And I went through a divorce in sobriety at about 10 years sober, I think, and not watching what I was doing. And I was a journalist and living alone and going to meetings and working hard and doing the extra hours and going home and living with my cat and picking up fast food on the way and things just I I'll tell you the truth. I have an older brother. He's actually 21 years sober. I have an older sister who's 41 years sober.
Mhm.
But
Wow.
uh, my brother, I always thought he dwarfed me, and so in Christmas of 2004, my mother, bless her heart, she insisted that she have a picture with her three children, and I couldn't get out of it. And of course, we fat people stay away from doctors and mirrors, and so and cameras. So, but I was stuck. So they sent me a JPEG of the picture, and I opened it up, and I could not believe it. I was just huge. I just dwarfed my brother, and it was one of those life-changing moments. And shortly after that, I was also outdoor editor of the paper. Not only did I write for a newspaper, but I also did outdoor fishing and such for the local newspaper and for magazines.
Mhm.
And some guys from the local bike club came by and they asked me to promote a program they had where bikes save lives, and they were giving away bikes and in order to help people address health problems. And I thought that sounded pretty good, so I bought a bike at 400 pounds and started riding in my gym, my jeans and my t-shirt with all these kids that were wearing spandex, and there were older guys in it too. And some of them that captured me was that they had health problems and weight problems, and so I started to ride the bike. And the next year, I'd lost enough weight. I went to the doctor for a routine physical, and he caught cancer in time. And so I started riding the bike for Livestrong as a relay rider in triathlons
Oh,
and
wow.
to
Mhm.
raise money. And I fell in
You
love with the
mean
people.
bike. You don't mean motorcycle. You mean a pedal bike, correct?
Bicycle,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. I want to make
bicycle, yeah. It's the only bike. And then we I started riding for. I fell in love with the people. I announced in the paper that my intention, I had been on the swim team in high school, and my intention was I was going to try and do a triathlon. And a fellow called me who was a triathlon cycling coach, and he offered to help me because he said that my stories had been reaching a lot of people about my weight loss,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted to be a part of it. And so he volunteered to help me get through my first sprint. I whispered to him almost when he said, "Well, what's your long-term goal?" And I said, "Do you think I could do an Ironman? Because alcoholic addicts, we don't do anything halfway."
All right.
So he said, "Sure, but not today."
Mm-hmm.
So we came up with a 3-year plan, and 3 years later, in 2011, I found myself in the water at Lake Monona at Madison, Wisconsin. On it was September 11th, 2011, the 10th anniversary of 9/11, and so it was quite the day. And I finished that with a hernia I knew about and a colon tumor I didn't. They found after when they were doing the hernia surgery leading up to it, they did a colonoscopy and found a colon tumor. So I lost 2 feet of my colon there. I kept losing weight, kept doing triathlon. I did another Ironman in 2013, and my hip went bad, and from a disease called AVN. So I lost that. I had a hip replacement in 2015, and I switched to ultra running.
Of course. You're an addict alcoholic. You up the ante, right?
Absolutely doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
My orthopedic is a triathlete, and he said just go use it up. So I said okay, and I did a 50K, and then I did a 50 miler in 2019, and I'm training right now to do a 100 miler if it comes off in October. I still plan on running it that day.
Better
Whether
you than me. Let me tell you something. I'm getting tired just listening. A
Yeah,
100 miler?
yeah, 100 miler. Whether it's 24 hours, a 100 miler. You get 30 hours, but if you get it done in 24 hours, you get a special belt buckle, and of course I need that. Yeah,
You are
belt buckles
definitely
and
you're
t-shirts. That's what we're all
certifiable.
about.
You're certifiable. Oh my God. Let me ask you a question. What are the upsides based on all the experience that you just shared? What are the upsides for someone who may be a newcomer or someone who's been in recovery for a while but not integrated exercise and nutrition into the overall lifestyle or part of their recovery program? What are the upsides to that? Because one of the things that you and I have discussed at length is the idea that there are some folks who say exercise and nutrition are outside issues, right? Now, you and I agree, we both practiced steps, and we both agree that that's not the case. And so I don't want to get a theoretical argument because you have applied this into your life and you've applied it into your recovery with miraculous results. So maybe for someone who's out there who's listening to this, what are the top reasons that you would recommend people be open-minded and willing to try and include exercise and nutrition into their overall plan?
Okay. First, nobody has to be an Ironman, and nobody has to run ultra marathons, right? The basic the basic suggestion here in America is 30 minutes 5 times a week. Just get out and do some moderate exercise, 30 minutes 5 times a week. That's where it starts. So why do that? Um, well, there are no outside issues. If it affects your self-esteem, if it affects your ability to stay sober and clean, it's not an outside issue. There, anything can fit under step 6 and step 7, right? Anything. If it fits in, if whatever you perceive as a character defect fits under 6 and 7. So there are no outside issues. But um, so why do it? Um, we're told to fit ourselves to maximum benefit to other people, right?
Mhm.
That's the point of this. The point of this is to help others. And the longer I can breathe, one of the greatest things about being sober is that as long as I breathe, I can help somebody. I can save a life.
Wow.
I might say something with my last breath that saves a life. Now, the longer I can do that, then the more people I can help, right?
Wow.
So that's so it's a non-selfish thing to stay healthy, for one thing.
Mhm.
And for another, my mother, bless her heart, she said, old age is not for sissies. And and, and it's not. It's not. I'm telling you, as a guy who had AVN, it's a bone disease. It cost me my hip. I was on a walker for a while, uh, and I want you to know that every time I go put on my shoes and take a run,
Mhm.
I'm so grateful to be alive. I'm so happy, so joyful. It's an exercise in gratitude. So what we find is that our quality of life, old age and aging, should not be a sentence. It should be a joy, a gift. But if we're, infirm or immobile, something like 80% of people who are 60 or above, don't hold me to that, but it's pretty close, um, suffer from some kind of chronic disease.
Mm.
I mean, we're looking at people with back problems. We're looking at people that have got diabetes, people with cardiorespiratory problems, and life just isn't any fun.
Right.
And it's supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be something that we enjoy doing and look forward to getting out of bed. To me, that's the biggest thing is quality of life, I guess. Quality of life and the ability to help others are the reasons that I would suggest it.
And you look at exercise as a meditation, correct?
I do.
Can you
Uh,
explain?
Meditation to me, um, one of the things that gets maybe not as much emphasis in recovery here in the West as it should is meditation. We're not taught it as part of our religious upbringing for most of us. The Catholics use the rosary and such, and that's very good and interesting for them. But we need to focus on quiet meditation and active meditation. There are religious books that suggest to pray incessantly, and isn't that what this is? Life is all supposed to be about, and isn't that what meditation is partly about? It's about a gratitude, breathing and breathe in and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out, and that's exactly what running is all about. And you can separate yourself from your thoughts. I am not my thoughts. Uh,
Right.
and so I can separate myself from those. I can let things go and just focus on one foot after another. It's a beautiful experience. Same thing with a bike, and same thing with a swimming. I'm a U.S. Masters swim coach too, but I'm not all that crazy about swimming myself anymore. I don't know. I just enjoy being out in nature, running trails. So
I hear you. When I'm working out, I think it's a meditation as well. When you said that, I knew we had a lot in common. Right away I understood it. And for me, I call it making conscious contact with my body. In the same way that I applied the steps to my mind initially,
Mhm.
every morning, because I do a morning practice, as you know, I have conscious contact with my body. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? Right? What can I do today to show gratitude? What can I do today to help myself, or make my body healthier? What
Mhm.
can I do today to help other people? And it's the most magical time of the day, and it just sets that tone for the whole rest of the day. So it's like, we have so much in common on that, and I'm glad that you shared about that as well, because people say to me, I've never meditated. I said, have you ever exercised? So yeah,
Right,
yeah, you meditated,
right, right.
So, but they don't necessarily see it. And you're right, because of the Western thinking, we don't necessarily teach things in the way Eastern cultures do. So I
Right.
want to move on because we have limited time. A lot of people are struggling at home now with being shelter at home, shelter in place, or quarantine given the coronavirus. I have two questions for you. Number one, for people who are struggling with food because maybe they're home overeating, especially on the carbs. What's your what thoughts do you have? What advice would you have for somebody out there who's not looking to come out of this with substantial weight put on and feeling terrible at the same time? And then maybe you can share a little bit about what you're doing right now to try and maximize your time at home, and just offer some advice to folks that are looking to really make the most of the time while they're sheltering in place.
Sure. Um, well, the first thing about eating is you have to be mindful. You, one is, I mean, there's some practical things. If you don't buy it, if you don't bring it home, you can't eat it. That's the practical part.
Right.
And so the resistance really, and as we know, um, weight loss really begins in the grocery store. So don't buy it, don't bring it home, don't call out for it. That's one way of avoiding it.
Mhm.
Um, the um, the other way is be really mindful about what you're doing. If you're not logging your food, you should be. If I mean, if this is something you're concerned about, if weight is something you're concerned about, then you ought to be logging your food no matter what, but especially now. I've been logging my food since this all started, since I started this. I use MyFitnessPal. I've been using it for years. It's very good, very easy to do, very easy to log into, and very easy to set up your meals. And once you get a pattern of meals going, you can just click, 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 click. I'm vegetarian, so it's just very easy for me to click, 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 and I'm done. And it doesn't take that much time, but it does keep me focused on what I'm doing. I also have always I've always noticed that when I was doing Ironman early on, I got down to like 220 from 400, and I was doing really well. There's no question about that. But I always wondered why during Ironman I was gaining weight. Well, the reason you're gaining weight is you're eating too damn much, and they tell you, well, you should take your resting metabolism and add on this and add on that, and then add on your exercise. And when you come up with that, you've got enough to be able to do the doggone day on the Tour de France. And I'm not exercising. I'm exercising a lot, but I'm not doing the Tour de France. So I'm putting on weight. So what I did was I actually went even more extreme in terms of understanding finally that my body doesn't need that many calories to stay healthy. I have all the energy I need by going vegetarian. I cut out all my arthritis meds. My joint inflammation all disappeared, and and it's very difficult for me to overeat too much on a very vegetarian diet. You really have to eat a huge volume.
Broccoli doesn't get that endorphin rush, right?
Yeah. So you gotta watch that. Plus, find a way to exercise. I mean, get out and do something. I don't know what I know folks in New York and I really feel for you folks. I really do. I pray for every one of you that you come through this all well. But find a way of doing something. Turn on YouTube and do a 30-minute high intensity cardio workout. Burn the calories. Get it done. This isn't going to last forever. So, but log your food. Watch what you're doing. And as far as making the best use of this thing, it occurred to me that Bill Murray's character in Groundhog Day. His problem was that he resisted what was. As long as he resisted that, he was suicidal, and I know what that was like, because October 1st in 1988, I was damn suicidal. Every day was the same. It was getting worse. But it was me. It was my karma that was bringing all that to me. But I understand that. But when I embraced the change, when I embraced the situation as it was, I started making real powerful progress through the program. So the bottom line here is that you can either waste this time and frankly bitch about it, or you can make the best use of this time. Do things that you've always wanted to do but never had time to do. I'm a USAT coach, and I've always wanted to get my personal trainer's license. and I'm getting it. I'm going to take a test in probably a week or two. I got to call and get it scheduled. But I'm going to take a test in a week or two and try and get certified as from the National Academy of Sports Medicine as a personal trainer at age 68. There's no time like the present. I mean, as a matter of fact, there is no other time than the present. So you might as well make the best of it. And you know, it's not, you know, it's not something to be. Listen, I've been through cancer a couple times. I've been through AVN. You know, we've been trained. We folks in recovery have been training for this moment. That's what we've been do. That's what we do. We train for this moment. And you know, calm seas make poor sailors. Sailors. We're good sailors because we know how to stand up and call on whatever higher power we call on, and we can meet any calamity with serenity. So, you know, make the best of it. Use this as a time for spiritual growth. Learn to meditate. You know, read a book. You know, take a course. Do something positive with it. And when you get on the other side of this, you'll see that this time wasn't wasted at all. You learned a lot. So.
I hope many people heard that, those jewels of wisdom. I couldn't have put it better myself, Scott. Thank you so much. And you're going to let us know how you do on that exam as well, correct?
Okay, I will.
We know you're going to pass, but we want to know. We want to celebrate with you, Scott. Thank you so much. Now, if someone out there heard anything you hear, all of what you said today, and they want to reach out to you, they want to talk to you a little bit more, what's the best way to do that?
Okay. The bike club, the bike folks gave me a nickname long ago. It's Iceman. So my email is icemanbn at comcast.net. icemanbn at comcast.net. That's Bloomington Normal. That's BN for Bloomington Normal. That's where I live, Illinois. So feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Scott, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope that you and your family will stay safe and that you may have saved someone's life by giving us just those words of wisdom and sharing your time here today. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for the time. I appreciate it.